Hey guys, tonight we're going to talk about the pack that I'm going to use this year for deer hunting. Get a drink real quick. I typically use, for just a regular pack, I use my 72-hour bag. It's a Molly style pack. It's kind of a flat dark earth color, um, and it's a decent pack, but it's not any good for carrying an amount of meat out. It does have some good straps and things, but there's no frame on it. It's just a basic backpack. Last year, I quartered and packed out two deer, neither one of which were very large, but I used just an um, my old A bag, or if you were in the Marines or the Navy, you call it a C bag or duffel bag, just the old green canvas duffel bag, with less than stellar results. I knew that that bag would handle the load. I had more than 100 pounds in it in the past when I was in the army. I knew it would handle the load, but it doesn't have any hip support. It didn't have a chest strap, waist strap, anything like that. No frame, so it was less than optimal. I resolved that I would get a frame pack this year. I looked at do-it-yourself frames such as a Roy Croft, um, and different style frame packs. But I was at a local flea market and I found a pack that I was very familiar with, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Alice pack. If you've spent any time in the military, you'd be familiar with this. Now, this is a new digital camo, and this is Marine camo. Um, Not a big fan of that because I wasn't in the Marine Corps, I was in the Army, but you must play with the tools that are available. They did have an olive drab, which was like what I was issued when I was in, but it was used and it had some wear. The straps were frayed a little bit. The bag had a few minor holes in it, things like that. And for $10 more, I picked this up. I got this thing for 90 bucks. You can find them cheaper. You can find used ones. I've seen them for as low as like $35 on Facebook Marketplace, things like that. But do check and make sure that they are in good, proper working order. This is all brand new. The frame and the bag both still had the tags on it. This was all brand new, so it was well worth the price. I've seen them going for up to $150 or more like this, for used ones online. So I thought this was well worth it. Let's look at the bag. Um, this is not a typical unboxing, never used before, blah, blah, blah. I have a lot of experience with this style of pack. Um, this is the large Alice pack. Um, just like I was issued in the Army years ago. Basic training, AIT, and then all through until we got deployed and they gave us Molly packs. Um, let's take a look here. Loosen these straps up. Everything has a good set of straps. Open this up. And I don't remember the exact size as far as cubic inches on this, but it's like 3,800 cubic inches or something like that. It's a rather large pack. You fit a lot of gear inside. A lot of people will say 60 to 70 pounds is what it's meant to carry. A typical loadout in the Army for ruck marches and things was about 65 pounds, but we routinely carried up to 100 pounds in these packs, so I wouldn't have a problem at all putting up to 100 pounds in a pack like this. Um, it's got a little kind of a weather pouch inside, and you can put certain gear in here. Your main compartment is quite large. And then it has ammo pouches on the outside. You can stuff water bottles in there, things like that. It's got other side compartments as well. It's got one, two, compartments that you can put gear in. You put your hunting knives, put these pouches here would be great for game bags, things like that, stuff in there. It's got a pretty robust frame. Now, it's not as tall as a commercial pack frame, um, but these things have been used to haul literally tons of gear, thousands of miles over the life of these packs. These things have been used since Vietnam. Um, I'll show you how I'll show you some of the features of it, and how to adjust it and whatnot. The biggest thing that I read about online. Now, I have a lot of experience with this pack. I used packs like this during my 6 years in the Army, um, up until I got deployed, and we had Molly packs. We were issued Molly packs, which, though larger and somewhat more comfortable, I didn't like the plastic frame. And if you read reviews on them, the weakest link on those is the plastic frame, and they tend to get stress cracks. Now, the one thing I really like about this is you can cinch it down with these straps. You can tuck the straps into the pack. And you end up with a fairly compact backpack. If you're just using it as your day pack and whatnot, but just in case you kill a deer and you want to be able to bring it out, it's really not any bigger of a footprint than my standard backpack. Maybe a hair wider, but height and everything about the same. So it works really well as far as that goes. It's got compartment little spots here where you can clip on canteen pouches and things like that, other types of storage, magazine pouches, whatnot. What we did when I was in was we would put your 2-quart canteen here and a 1-quart on either side. So you carried a gallon of water everywhere you went when you were packed out. It's got decent padding up here for your shoulders and neck. The straps are pretty good. You could always add some padding to those, but the straps, from what I remember, they're pretty comfortable. And then it's got what they call your kidney pad, which it's got this pad here and it goes up against your back, make it a lot more comfortable. The fact that this is a new pack and the pads aren't worn out is going to be pretty advantageous. And then it just clips around your waist. So let me get this thing situated, and I'll show you how you wear it, how it gets adjusted. Like I said, some of the complaints, I don't know if I got there, but some of the complaints that I read online were it wasn't comfortable, I wouldn't use it to carry more than 25 pounds, blah, blah, blah. And most of the people that said that didn't have any prior experience with one of these packs. And my personal feeling is that they don't know how to properly adjust one. A 50 to 100 pound load on your back is never going to be comfortable. But it can be much more comfortable than other ways, depending on how you adjust your pack. So let's take a little break. Let me get situated and I'll show you how I adjust my pack. Okay. So you get your backpack straps. You're going to put it on like a regular backpack. And you're going to want the straps to be a little loose to start with. Put it on. Get them a little bit loose. Okay. Then I go ahead, put this around my waist, give it a little bit of a jostle, and tighten it up. And then you grab these straps and you kind of give a forward and upward lunge of the pack and cinch it down. You get the pack up and cinch it down. And then you can readjust your waist strap. The tighter these are, the better it's going to carry on you. And you can always, as you go, they'll loosen up a little bit. And you give it a little bit of a jostle and cinch these down. Get this good and well adjusted around you. And it fits even fat boys. I generally wear it a little low. Let me read it. Because I wear it under my gut. But you can certainly put it right around your waist. But if you look, your hips are right here. And the pack is just above your hips. Then you can easily tighten this. I may have to readjust that. But you get this good and snug. You get your shoulder straps good and snug. And if your lower back starts to hurt, you, again, jostle it up a little bit. Pull this down. Or you can even go forward. You can have a buddy lift it a little bit. And you pull these down. And tighten it up pretty good. One thing that I would probably suggest is you could add another strap here to go across your chest to keep these from sliding off your shoulders, but it's not typically an issue, and I'll show you why. When it comes time to take this thing off, pull up on here, on these tabs, loosen it up, comes right off. But it's typically not an issue because as far as the pads coming off your shoulders, because they're really close together and they're in a fixed position on the frame. You can't slide them any further apart. So since they come in just on either side of your neck, they're not going to slide off your shoulders much, if at all. But for comfort, you can adjust here and you can bring these up higher. If you're having problems with a pinching on your collarbone and whatnot, you can bring them up higher like that. I like it down just a little lower than what it is right now. So I'll put it back where it was. But you can always adjust that up higher. The pack is very adjustable, very easy to take down, very easy to maintain. Let's go into a few more features. Now, is this going to be the most comfortable pack that you've ever carried while hunting? The answer is no. Is it going to be the most versatile pack that you own? Or that you can buy? Maybe, maybe not. Is it the best choice for someone who's budget minded? That's probably where its niche is. Like I said, I got this for under $100. It's a large pack. You can put a lot of gear in it. What I like is, I'll show you here, I can have this thing out and have the pack full, and then I've still got room above here. Say the pack's full out like this, and this is straight out. I've still got room to strap stuff up here. I can put my tree steps up there, Um, if I was backpacking, uh, wilderness camping, whatnot, I could put my tent, my sleeping bag, things like that, and attach them up there. You could also, depending on how you want to do this, you can use these straps to secure external gear. Um, I would recommend carrying some ratchet straps or some 550 cords, something like that, to help secure your gear even tighter together. If you're lucky enough to kill an animal and you're packing meat out, I'm not buying this pack, though I may use it for this. I'm not buying this pack to pack elk quarters out 5, 10, 15 miles. I'm buying this pack to use as my standard hunting pack to put my deer hunting gear in. And then if I'm fortunate enough to kill a deer, to put the boned out meat in this pack in game bags and get it out of the woods. You're talking somewhere between, depending on the size of the deer, somewhere between 35 and 100 pounds of meat. 100 pounds would be a very large pack out, a large animal. Typically, you're going to have between 30 and 60 pounds of meat. But 60 pounds of boned out meat is still a big deer. Um, but it'll work just fine for that. It's camouflage, um, which is a plus for hunting pack. It has these spots here where you can attach gear, but you could also use that for hanging your tree steps from, or you could put trekking poles on either side, collapsible trekking poles, and hold them there. Tie them or clip them in place somehow so they don't slip and fall out. There's lots of different things that you can attach to these various attachment points, and they've got grommets in them, and you can tie 550 cord and whatnot to them, and you can really mod it out the way you want it. It's pretty easy to detach from the frame when it comes time to clean it. You unstrap it down here and then unhook your shoulder straps up here and then just slide everything off of the frame, throw it in your washing machine, clean all the blood off of it and whatnot. I don't know that we ever ran ours through the washing machine. I think we took scrub brushes and just scrubbed them off, what I remember. If you don't think this padding is thick enough, you can always get your piece of foam and you could stitch it on here, tape it on, whatever. You could add padding up here. You may want to do that. Like I said, the guys that complained about it not being very comfortable, I've never used a commercial pack frame. I've always used either these or the Molly system that we used in the military. And I personally never thought these were too bad. I've carried them absolutely full of gear, um, for distances up to, I think it was 9 miles, and didn't really have any issues. The only time I ever had any serious comfort issues with these was I got issued one time that didn't have this pad. It just had a strap to go around your waist, but it didn't have this pad. And this metal frame dug into my back quite a bit. I actually have some scars on my back where it rubbed all the way through the skin. It was actually, there was exposed muscle. It was nasty. Um, from a long ruck march without without what they call the kidney pad. 1 out of 5 stars, would not recommend. But I've never had any issues with the comfort of these packs, and I think as long as you load them properly and adjust them properly to your body, they'll be just fine. Now, if you're over 6 foot tall, or under, say, about 5'7", you may have some issues because of the height of the pack, of the frame. And I can see that. They do have different sizes. There's small, medium, and large. So you can look into different options, but remember that that'll come with a smaller pack. I believe there is an extra large as well. So that may be, but I think it's the same size frame, but a larger pack. So that may be something to think about. The biggest disadvantage I can think of with this style of a pack, if you were using it to carry meat out, would be the fact that it doesn't have a shelf. But I'm going to show you something. They did make a shelf for a radio pack, and you could add that to a pack, to a frame like this. But with these slots here, you could take some wood or some scrap aluminum or something, and you could build a shelf for this. But in my opinion, if you've got everything in here and got it cinched down good and tight, and then take some ratchet straps, some just pull straps, or some 550 cord, and attach it to these points here and crisscross them up to here and cinch everything down and bring it up a little bit, give it something a little more rigid to sit on. You could also put a piece of Delrin or Lexan or something in the bottom of the pack to give it a little more rigidity. And I would recommend, even with soft loads like clothing and things like that, to put a piece of cardboard down there, just give it a little more rigidity. It'll carry better on your back if this isn't flopping around quite as much. But if you were to take some straps or some cordage and attach it at the bottom of this frame where these holes are, and then come up to the corners and crisscross, cinch everything down, and give it a little more rigid place to sit, it'll eliminate a lot of those issues. And as well as cinching these straps down, which also lift it up, and these straps go all the way across the bottom and give the pack bottom support. One of the issues that people mentioned was that the thing flopped around a lot. And if these straps are secured properly, and then you use the crisscross method, like I said, that shouldn't be an issue either. It's not made for packing out elk meat and things like that, though tons of elk and deer and probably mountain goats and everything else have been carried out in this style pack because they've been around a long time, and you can find them at military surplus stores. They certainly will work. Like I said, I have carried these things probably hundreds of miles with full packs, weighing somewhere between 60 and 90 pounds, and never really had much of an issue with them. You have to readjust them here and there. You're going to have to do that with any pack. Is it going to be as comfortable as a full commercial pack? Probably not, but it's less expensive. And in my opinion, It's a better quality pack than any other pack you would get in this price range. For there's packs out there available for under 150 bucks, commercial packs, and I personally don't think they're the quality of this style pack. This one even has a spot to put an ID card and things. You could put, got here in the pack, it's got this clear pouch. You could use this to put emergency contact information and things like that, just in case something were to happen to you while you're in the field. Certainly put your name and whatnot in there if you wanted to. Like I said, I've used these a lot. It's a nice tight aluminum frame. I have occasionally seen these rivets come loose. They're pretty easy to replace if you've got a rivet gun. You can drill them out a little bit and put the next larger rivet in there so that they don't break next time. Things like that. You can take this, you can see even though this is new, it's already got some chipping of the paint and whatnot. It's not the best quality of paint. You could always take it off of the frame and use some Krylon or Rust-Oleum. If it doesn't fit quite the way you want it, it's aluminum, you can put it in a vise and bend it a little bit here and there to kind of custom fit it. But honestly, for the price, it's a really durable nylon material, easy to wash, a large carrying capacity, plus you can attach things to it. You've got lots of tie-off points and whatnot, and you can, just like a standard trekking backpack, you can attach stuff to the outside. It's a very versatile pack. You cinch everything down, like I said, with just your basic gear in it. I'm going to have like um, my saddle platform. I'll have my climbing sticks up here. I'll have my saddle platform inside it, my saddle and hunting knife, a couple bottles of water, things like that. And it'll work just fine. For 90 bucks, I couldn't really beat it. And you got to think about this. It's military surplus. It was made for servicemen to carry large amounts of gear long distances. So if you're looking for an inexpensive frame for hunting, camping, backpacking, etc., I would recommend the Alice Pack. Like I said, I have a lot of experience with these. I have occasionally seen these metal buckles break, but you could get aftermarket buckles. You could even put a seatbelt buckle on here if you wanted to. And I've seen that done on other packs. You can get aftermarket buckles. Probably the weakest link, in my opinion, is this plastic rigging right here. But I've never seen them break unless they were abused. Now, in the military, we abused the snot out of this gear. And I've only seen a couple times it break. Everything else is metal, either aluminum or steel. It's a good, affordable pack that, when properly maintained, will give you years and years of use. When you get to the point that you decide you want a better pack and you can afford it, by all means do, but I think you'll still keep this around. This isn't a selling point. They don't even make these brand new, best of my knowledge. But it's just to give you an idea of your options. If you're strapped for cash and you want a pack to carry some, to quarter a deer out, things like that. If you're an elk hunter or a long distance backpacker, things like that, you probably want to spend the dough and buy a better pack. A larger, more comfortable pack with a meat shelf on it, etc. But if you just want something, you're a deer hunter, you're going to quarter a deer out and pack it out 1 to 5 miles, something like that, a couple times a year, and you just want a basic day pack to carry the majority of your gear in, I think this will work really well. I know it'll work really well because I've used it day in and day out in my time in the military, and I really never had any problems with it. I thought the Molly Pack was great when I first got it, but like I said, those plastic frames did tend to break. But you can buy them pretty cheap, so you can certainly buy a pack like that, but they're a little more expensive. These come in olive drab, woodland, and then this digital pattern. I don't know that they made them in ACU, but they may have. But for where I live, that camel pattern's not bad. Um, I intend on using it this year, and I intend on packing a couple of deer out in it. I'll let you know after I do that what I think of it. But these are battle tested. I've personally used not this pack, but this same type of pack um, for lots of military operations, and it worked really well. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next video.